Welcome to the Darkstream. VoxDay, voxday.blogspot.com, and Infogalactic. Thanks for tuning in if you managed to find this. It might help if you were to tweet this out on Twitter, because Twitter has my account locked for a week. So this particular, these periscopes for tonight and for the next 5 days are not going to be broadcast on Twitter. And so if you share it on Twitter, that will help a lot, because then people will actually be able to see that that this is going on. It was actually kind of a timely block, because last night we talked about it, and we talked about, okay, what would we do if Twitter shut the whole thing, tried to shut everybody down? How long would it take us to get back up and running? And what we just proved today is that it wouldn't take us any time at all. We would be back up within an hour. And so now what happened had nothing to do whatsoever with the daily meme wars. In fact, the same error message that just came up now came up last night when I started it. I just didn't realize that I'd already been locked out of Twitter. I'm not fully locked out. It's a kind of a interesting state where you're allowed to access Twitter. You can still read it, but you're not allowed to tweet or retweet anything. And so, and it was really my fault. It was just stupid. You know, I advise people not to get into it with SJWs on Twitter, unless that's what you're doing, right? And so I had an SJW who was coming at me hard. I got sick of him, hit him back with a meme, and blocked him. And that was a few days ago. He must have been really butthurt, because he went and complained about it. The funny thing was, it wasn't a particularly spicy Pepe meme. You know, it was a variant on a meme I'd used plenty of times before, but it's pretty clear that Twitter's little safety and fascist council, or whatever they call it, they're now cracking down considerably more. Yeah, and this is right out of SJWs Always Lie, the appeal to the amenable authority. They come at us, they insult us, they get on our case, and when we hit them back, they run crying to the amenable authority. Happens every time. So, you know, I mean, it's my own foolishness that's to blame there. But again, it's fine, because what did it allow us to do? It allowed us to check out and see if we would be able to withstand that kind of treatment. And guess what? No problem at all. In fact, the numbers today, in terms of percentages, beat day one. You know, we are building an anti-fragile system here. Now, obviously, still very small. We're growing by about 100 people a day. That's going to have to pick up, and it will pick up. I have some plans on that score. So it's going to increase significantly over the next few months. But you know, we've already grown now to, this morning, 1,323 emails went out. We've already got 15 people set up. You can get around the Twitter block very easily. Fortunately, that Twitter is not really set up to deal with sites that have more than one suffix. So all you got to do to get around the Twitter block is only on voxday.blogspot.com. So you can go to IT, you can go to CA, you can go to CH, you can go to DE, you can go to FR, they all work. It's all the same site. The funny thing is that what people don't realize is that my blog has actually got more traffic than they understand. Tiny URLs sometimes work. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But there's more traffic on my blog than people realize, because the only one that gets measured is .com. And so, this strategy of always coming up with a design that has intrinsically, it's like the internet itself. You have built-in paths to route around obstacles. So when they throw up one obstacle, you find another way around it. We've done the same thing with Castelia House. We are gearing. We're already able to deliver ebooks without any trouble. We would not need Amazon. But right now it would be difficult with the print editions, but we're working on a plan with Ingram that will also allow us to route around Amazon in the event that Amazon gets completely converged and decides to stop worrying about actually making money by selling to people and just decides that they're in the business of policing content. So, but yeah, so I well, that's what's kind of funny, because, it kind of reminds me when I was in the martial arts. People talk about gamers being good at things and that sort of thing, and being good at finding solutions and seeing things ahead of time, right? Well, being a game designer in that regard was kind of like when I was involved in martial arts. And you might not know it, but I was a 100-meter sprinter in NCAA Division I. Granted, towards the bottom of Division I, but still, so I was very fast. And I remember warning somebody that was like trying to pick a fight. I said, look, you don't want to mess with me. I'm a sprinter. And the guy said, something like, so what, you're going to run away real fast? And he clearly had a reasonably intelligent friend, because I just looked at him and I said, do you understand the equation F equals MA? And his friend was clearly more intelligent, because he kind of said, oh, and then realized, see, the thing is, force is mass times acceleration. So if you've got people understand the mass part. They understand you don't want to get hit by a really big guy, right? What they tend to not realize is you also really don't want to get hit by a really fast guy, because the acceleration aspect of it is combined. And actually, I personally suspect that that's one reason. I think that that's one reason why sprinters and stuff throw up a lot on the bench press. I think there was a Stan Lee superheroes, super people thing or whatever. I can't remember the show. And the guy, when they measured the guy who was able to rip telephone books in half with his hands easily, when they measured him, and they were measuring all this stuff, and it turned out that in his forearms he had an abnormally high percentage of fast twitch muscles. And so basically, it wasn't that he was stronger, but it wasn't like he had bigger muscles or anything. It was just that he was so much faster when he started that he generated more force and then was able to rip the thing apart. And so, that's right. Strength is speed, speed is strength. When you see somebody on the football field get hit, where do the hardest hits tend to come from? Who delivers the hardest hits in the game? Is it those big, huge defensive linemen? Not usually. The biggest hits you usually see is usually the strong safety, because he's somebody who's a little bit bigger than the cornerbacks, but he's as fast as the quarterbacks. And so they get to higher speeds, they're faster, and so they hit harder. Anyhow, yeah, exactly, Ronnie Lott. I mean, this is a digression, but I have to say that was one of the favorite things I ever saw on a football field was a Vikings-Packers game. And this Packer did a little quick down and out. He turned around, caught the ball, and then turned around, and the cornerback had about a 10-yard run at him, and he hit him so hard. I mean, it looked like it killed him. I mean, he just went down, boom, like he got hit by a cannon. But the amazing thing, I mean, these football players, I have so much respect for him. He bounces back up, and immediately starts walking back to the huddle. But then, as he's walking to the huddle, all of a sudden you see this. As he's walking, and he gets there, and the quarterback, I think it was Brett Favre, just turns him around and pushes him back. Pushes him towards the sideline. I mean, clearly the guy had no idea where he was, what he was doing. All he knew was that got to get up, So got to respect that. Anyhow, to get back to the point, in the same way, people don't understand that the business, the job, the responsibility, the duty of a game designer is to foresee all the various possibilities. When we're designing a game, we spend an inordinate amount of time anticipating how the gamers are going to try to break it. If we could just focus on designing stuff that any normal person would just do and play, it would be easy. It would take us, we could probably save about a third of the time because we wouldn't have to, create the graphics for places that no one actually has any good reason to go. We wouldn't have to try to keep the players from behaving in bizarre, irrational ways that have nothing to do with the purpose of the game. And that's what we have to do. We have to anticipate all this stuff. And so that mentality is very helpful when we're dealing with a situation like we have where the social media giants hate us and want to shut us up. They basically want to eliminate us from the social media world, which is kind of bizarre if you think about it from a business perspective, because the majority of the country voted for Trump, elected Trump. I understand the popular vote for thing, but let's just leave it for now. So basically, they've built this business model that eliminates 50% of the population. I mean, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. And so the problem that you have is that you create a market for someone else. What the social media giants have done is they have now created the opportunity for somebody to Fox News them. Why did Fox News come to be the dominant force in cable news? Why? Because all their competitors, ABC, CNN, NBC, CBS, PBS, all the radio stations, they were all focused on the left 50% of the market. So Fox comes in, and Fox is not even that far to the right. But they come in, and they own 50% of the audience. They take it all over. Now, of course, Fox is completely cucked. And it's so what does that mean? That means a new opportunity has been created in cable news, is in the process of being created in cable news. But the same process has created opportunities with all the converged social media giants. So the same opportunity has been created with Twitter. That's why Gab is growing like crazy. The same opportunity has been created by Wikipedia. That's why Infogalactic is growing steadily. The same opportunity has been created by Facebook and by Reddit. And so that's why those giants will soon see effective competitors. So far they don't have effective competitors there's no Gab, there's no Infogalactic for Facebook or for Reddit yet. Vote, maybe. But that's what happens. And so the important thing for us to do is to continue to route around their control. And they're around because they're only going to keep doubling down. They're only going to keep grasping harder. But we are going to keep coming at them from directions that they don't see. And so the interesting thing is, like for example, there's a very popular author happened to stop by my place today, best-selling author in Europe, a best-selling author in Europe. And we were talking, and I was showing him Alt Hero. What is Alt Hero? Alt Hero is our new comic book series that we're going to be kickstarting here in about a month or so. And we've got some good art, we've got all this stuff going. And he was looking, he's like, this is fantastic. He said, it's telling a story, it's telling stories that nobody else is telling now, because Marvel's been converged, because DC Comics has been converged. And so, that's the same opportunity that we're seeing. It's the same opportunity that Fox News had, same one that Gab has, same one that Infogalactic has. It's the reason that people are increasingly turning to people like Stefan Molyneux and Mike Cernovich and Jack Posobiec and others. They're turning to them because they offer something that you can't get. Yeah, Paul Joseph Washington. It's stuff that you can't get from the traditional providers. And so, I'm looking forward to this. I think that Alt Hero is going to be a much bigger hit than we're planning, than we're expecting, simply because nobody else is doing this. And so that means that the whole market is there, and that's very important. So, anyhow, if you haven't signed up yet for Daily Meme Wars, I'd encourage you to do so. You can find it at voxday.blogspot.com. Like I said, we've already got over 1,400 people. More people are participating every day. Tomorrow is day 3. We've already got the meme ready to go out. Anything today about rhetoric and dialectic? Well, we wrote about it on the blog. There's a bit about that. And so I think Gab is doing the right thing. I think that special program that they're using is a good way to do it. And it's limited, obviously. You can't raise more than $1 million that way. You're not gonna get rich or anything like that. But it's going to give them the ability to make some moves and add some features and upgrade their facilities and so forth. Okay, you got to go away because I really don't give a shit about your volume. Seriously, your volume is your problem, not mine. Yeah, I mean they have the ability to post memes, and so I mean I don't know what you mean by that. You can post a image without any trouble. So the problem is they don't display in the same way, and that's something that they should fix, and I'm sure that they will. Ricky Vaughn was mentioning that just yesterday, and so no, you're clicking on the wrong thing. You click on the photo, not on the GIF. So you can just load it. You just load it from your hard drive. Same way, it works exactly the same way that Twitter does. So, but maybe they need to make that a little bit more clear. I mean, I uploaded the daily meme there yesterday. I don't know if I did today, but anyhow, it's not difficult. It's very easy to do. The main problem with the Gab display of it is that it blows it up so that you only see part of it. It would be better if you could just see the entire, if it shrunk the thing down so you can see the entire thing the same way it works on Twitter. But Andrew's a sharp guy. Gab is doing great, and it's all these things. I mean, it's already better than Twitter in some ways with the editing and that sort of stuff. So, especially now that they've got some resources, they're going to be able to address this kind of stuff. And I think in 6 months, Gab is going to be viewed as being much, much better than Twitter. They're working hard on some Gab TV stuff. I'm going to be doing a regular show on Gab TV soon. And so, I love Gab. I love Torba. I like his team. They're really good at what they do. And so, but it is a little bit different. It is a little bit different than Twitter because, Twitter is still where most of the normies are. Facebook is still where most of the normies are. And so that's where we need to direct our offensive action. And so, you guys need to stop telling me stuff that has been the situation for months. Twitter has been warning people about my blog for, I think, 9 months now. So, I realize it's a new discovery for you, and that's great. And I appreciate you coming to the blog. But, Twitter has been blocking access to my blog for at least 9 months. And so the best meme this week, well, we just started, so we only have 2. I personally liked the Russian one, but that's a little bit complicated. It was a little bit harder to make. It was a little more complicated. I think today's one about the CNN zombies was probably a better one because it's easier to understand. 2 a day. How much email do you want to get? It's we talked. We talked about it last night, and I asked everybody. I said, do you want this to be 5 days a week or 7 days a week? And there were a few votes for 7, but everybody was leaning. It was pretty heavily oriented towards 5, and so. One thing that I have noticed is that there's not a whole lot of interest in the books yet that we're letting you know about, which is fine. That's just a way of helping us continue to get the word out about our books. At least even if you're not interested in them, at least you know about them now. I realized that we had a bit of an issue, a dearth of information when a couple people were on Twitter who followed me, and they were talking to me, and somebody said, "Oh, I heard you wrote a book." And I said, "Well, yeah, I've actually written 15." They're like, "Wow, 15 books?" I was like, "Yeah, and we publish about 100." It said, they're like, "What? Well, what is this stuff?" That was the point I realized, okay, I am clearly not doing a terribly good job of communicating about Castalia House when my own Twitter followers have no idea that it exists or that I even write books. So, say lovey. So that's why we'll always have the book news on the daily meme stuff, but it's what it is. If you're interested, fantastic. If you're not, doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. We're here to meme. That's the main thing. And so, Mike thinks I'm hapless when it comes to self-promotion. It's always kind of funny because when we talk about that, when we talk about self-promotion or marketing and self-promotion, I always get the idea that it's kind of like the cool guy in school talking to the hopeless dork, trying to teach him how to be attractive to girls. And And he walks away just thinking, oh my God, this guy is hopeless. So, but it's fine. That's fine. I mean, that's why I have 30,000 followers, 31,000 followers on Twitter, and I can't even use my Twitter account. And Mike has, more than 300,000, and he's on it, using it with impunity. It's fine. It is what it is. We all have our different gifts. We all have our different skills. And that's stuff that Mike's really good at. I think it's great. And so, the funny thing is, it's true. The thing that you need to keep in mind about Mike is that he knows when he can talk to the media, and he knows when he can't. He knows how to handle it. In life, there are always exceptions. There's always exceptions. But you can't tell people that because they always think that they're the special snowflake exception. And so, I got a media request for Mike as his publisher. I got a media request for him today that I forward on to him. Whether he'll do it or not, I don't know. But it's very big media. It's very important media. And so, what people don't realize is that they just see it when he does do a big media thing. They don't realize that he has probably turned down 25 or 30 requests and then accepted that one for strategic reasons. Okay? But Mike is Mike. You're not Mike. I'm not Mike. We have different skills. And we have different goals, and we have different objectives, and we also have different weaknesses. And so what's appropriate for Mike to do is not necessarily appropriate for me or for Richard Spencer or somebody else. But the big thing is, most people, whether you're someone like Tara McCarthy, whether you're someone like Jack Posobiec or whatever, you're vulnerable in a different way. And so when you're just coming up and the media is doing their, hey, you're a new voice and we want to get your opinion and that kind of stuff, you're not prepared for the way that they're going to sucker you, the way that the professionals are. You're just not, And so, my best sci-fi work, well, I would say probably Quantum Mortis, A Man Disrupted. My best story is one that's in Forbidden Thoughts. No, it's not in Forbidden Thoughts. My best story is one that's in Ultra of Hate. But it's a Guy de Maupassant ripoff. But anyhow. So, like I don't talk to the media very much. The only time that I really talk to the media is when it's about technology stuff. I'm always happy to talk to the game stuff, about the game stuff. Love to talk about game stuff, and I enjoy talking about technology. But the minute that they try to make it political, the minute they try to make it about me, I'm not interested. I'm not a story. It's of no. I have no interest in becoming a talking head. Is Lauren Southern a liability? No, she's not. She's attractive, she's smart, and she's a civic nationalist. She has her own identity complications, but that's fine. She's definitely on the right side. Now, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to, try to elevate her the way that people always get excited over attractive women, and want to turn them into the voice of whatever. And so, So there's always going to be issues with that. But you know, she's smart. Her book actually knocked my book out of the #1 spot in political philosophy that it had for over a year and a half. So of course, I'm bitter about that. Not really. I was happy that it did well. She's young, she's courageous, she's smart, and she's attractive. I mean, it's all great. And so, anyhow, I think, just so you understand, I think I've talked to her once. We were both on the same Milo event. So that was it. Oh yeah, my wife and I used to joke about the fact that if we had put Space Bunny's picture on my column, she would have a show on Fox News within 6 months. Especially considering it was back in her late 20s, she was like much hotter than almost all the Fox News girls. And so, see, Tommy Lauren, I think, is a little bit different. I think Tommy is more of a media whore. I think she just wants to, be famous. And so, I think she's all right. I don't think but just the fact that she's like, the fact that she was trying to become a big voice in conservative media while being pro-abortion and stuff, that's just, it meant that she's primarily about the celebrity. She's not primarily about the ideas. Lauren, Tara, Brittany, Lana, Faith Goldie, they're all much more serious. They have intellectual substance to them. I mean, yes, it's nice that they're all attractive. It's going to help their careers. But the main thing is that they have substance. Tara McCarthy is doing a book for us. Castelli is going to be publishing her. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. It's a serious book. It's more in the vein of a Cuckservative than an SJWs always lie. But it's going to establish that she's a more of an Ann Coulter type, and the Ann Coulters of the world are much, much more important than all the Fox News talking heads. The talking heads are irrelevant. They're easy to replace. And so it's not important. But yeah, so it's we've got a big announcement of a new Castelli House author soon. I can't say anything yet, but I'm looking forward to announcing it. Tucker's good. Tucker's actually my parents actually know him. But yeah, Tucker is like the one saving grace right now on Fox News, as they head towards their inevitable self-immolation. So anyhow, that's all I've got tonight. But if you haven't joined the Daily Meme Wars yet, sign up, join the fun. We're building it up. It's going to be good. And stop by the blog when you get a chance, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Have a good evening.